every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. In a major story, United States expresses readiness to work with Nigeria to end Boko Haram insurgency. Also in this program, electoral officers under the Independent National Electoral Commission gather in Abuja for a review of the 2015 elections. Chief Justice of the Federation, Mahmoud Mohammed, advises judicial officers against bribe. Chief Justice of the Federation, Mahmoud Mohammed, advises judicial officers against bribe. And outside Nigeria, top Islamic militant Mokhtar Belmonte has been killed on a U.S. airstrike in the Libyan city of Abdibila. The United States of America said it will work with President Muhammadu Buhari to stop the menace of Boko Haram in Nigeria and its neighboring countries. Erstwhile President Goodluck Jonathan had complained during his tenure about the unwillingness of the American government to assist Nigeria in prosecuting the war against the terrorist group, especially in selling weapons to the country. But Washington said it will work with Boko Haram to likely increase the U.S. level of support, though it did not say whether that will include sales of lethal weapons earlier requested for by the federal government. The U.S. Assistant Secretary, Bureau of African Affairs, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, during a telephone press briefing on Monday held in South Africa at the 25th African Union Summit and monitored by our correspondents in Lagos, stated that Washington was committed to ensuring that Nigeria wins its battle against the terrorist group. She added that the U.S. was committing $5 million to Nigeria's effort at defeating Boko Haram, and that Nigeria had been receiving equipment and technical assistance from the U.S. Nigeria's military authorities say troops shot dead several heavily armed terrorists who used women and children as shield on Sunday in the course of an attack on a community in Yobe State. The Defense Headquarters said in a statement that one soldier and vigilante member, however, died in the attack on Babangida, a town located 50 kilometers from Damaturu. It added that over 10 rifles and weapons accessories, as well as hundreds of rounds of ammunition and some hand grenades, were recovered from the fleeing terrorists. 3 Hilux vehicles were also captured from the Boko Haram insurgents. At least 10 people have been confirmed killed in 2 suicide attacks in Potoskum, Yobe State. The attacks took place at Dorowa and a vigilante office along Gashau Road in the city. A hospital source told the nation on phone that 10 people have been confirmed dead at the Potoskum General Hospital, while 5 others are badly injured. This attack is the latest in the series of suicide bombing by Boko Haram militants in recent times, with Potoskum having suffered more of the attacks, especially in Yobe State. At least 27 people, including 4 suspected Boko Haram fighters, have been killed in a series of attacks in Chad capital in Jamena, according to a government spokesperson. Monday, bombers outside the police headquarters and police academy were the first such attacks in the city, where security has been tightened since Chad joined the fight against Boko Haram earlier this year. An official within Jemena's police force states that many people were dead and wounded in the twin attacks, although there was no precise casualty toll. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the bombings, which came as police cadets were attending a training course at the academy. Electoral officers who participated in the 2015 elections have converged in Abuja for a 3-day retreat to review their performance. This, according to the Independent National Electoral Commission, is with a view to planning ahead for the next set of election in 2019. Many of the electoral officers used the opportunity to share experience on an election which was adjudged as one of the best in Nigeria's political history. Pio Samuel has more.
From north to south, east to west, they have gathered here to brainstorm over the successes and challenges of the just concluded general elections. Even though the 2015 elections are over, INEC is keen in assessing its performance. This, they say, is to ensure a better 2019 polls and to avoid the identified hiccups of the recent election.
In Ebonyi State, generally, I think the election was fairly done, an improvement over the previous years. Particularly in my local government, I think we did the best we could. Even though we know after every election there may be litigations here and there, but to the best of my knowledge, we did what the commission expected us to do.
The 2015 election was adjudged as free and fair by international observers. But these electoral officers say this was in spite of glaring logistic challenges. For the next election to be better than the previous one, INEC says it will ensure that adequate preparations are made on time.
The major challenges we could see is in the area of the logistics and security. Like in my area, in Delta area, is the security. The security area. The security is never enough.
Well, the thing that anything a human being does, there are about to be some faults. But generally, the commission performed exceedingly well. Yes, they did well.
The electoral officers will be in Abuja for the next 3 days to review the challenges of the 2015 election with a view to ensuring a better showing in 2019. Pio Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Legacy Governor Akinwumi Ambode has announced the dissolution of all board of parastatals and agencies of government. The directive takes immediate effect. Ambode says it was appreciative of the contributions of the outgoing board members to the development of the state. According to the governor, the dissolution excludes the State Judicial Commission, the Civil Service Commission, and the State Independent Electoral Commission. It says new boards will be constituted in due course. The leadership of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State has called on Governor Adams Oshiomhole to stop forthwith with manipulation and unacceptable deprivation of the local government of its legitimate allocation. Chairman of the state's PDP, Dan Obe, described the governor's last 6 years of administration as characterized by financial recklessness and maladministration. Our correspondent files on this report.
Addressing the party faithful on the recent development in the state where youth are laid off work, judiciary grounded, unpaid civil servants, amongst all the challenges facing the state, he assured the gathering of the party's intention to salvage the situation as well as ensure local government autonomy if given the opportunity to serve.
I want to use this opportunity to call on the Edo State government to stop the manipulation and unacceptable deprivation of local government's legitimate allocation. This cannot continue. We also want to condemn in very strong terms the deliberate policy of the state government to further increase the population of our unemployed youths. Just last week, to be precise, about the 5th of this month, the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Julius Ihowere, issued a statement saying that all the youths that were employed by the government under the Edo State Youth Employment Scheme have been sacked. This statement was issued by the government without any notice. There was no previous notice.
The state party chairman stated that Governor Oshiomhole is the most traveled of all the governors put together in the country, which has not impacted positively on the state.
Edo State governor has made more trips than all the combined trips of other governors in the other states of the Federation. What has he achieved with these trips? He has not been able to attract any industry to Edo State. All the existing companies that he met at the assumption of office, almost all of them today are dead. Today you can travel from here to Kafachan, to Jos, to Kano, to Port Harcourt, to Lagos without sighting a Edo line vehicle in any of these routes. That is Adams Oshomole's government for Edo people.
Obi urged the state governor to reorder his priorities as his actions are inflicting untold hardship on the people. He also seized the opportunity to call on the residents to decide who lead them 12 months from now and embrace the PDP message of change.
The people of Idiato have celebrated the Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha for what they describe as his good performance in government, which has put the name of the district on the world map. Ajibade Awofeso, who was in Idiato to witness the grand reception for Rochas Okorocha by his people, filed on this report.
The governor, in his usual manner of attending to his people, arrived the venue, which is 45 kilometers from the state capital, Owerri, with the members of his party and well-wishers. At the church venue of the grand reception, the governor took the first reading of the Bible, quickly followed by the parish priest, Simon.
Shall know that I, the Lord, bring low the heart and make high the Lord.
This is what the lessons of the liturgy we are celebrating today is teaching us. It is God who creates. It is God who gives the power. It is God who gives everything that we have.
Done with the spiritual aspect of the event, the governor and his guests from all parts of Nigeria, including some traditional rulers from the north, moved to the reception venue. The organizers delivered the opening salvo.
Themselves instead of improving the welfare of the masses, but your last 4 years, His Excellency of governance has changed the notion and proved you as the lover of the masses.
With this, several different groups within Idiato presented gifts to the governor. The governor in his speech reaffirms his commitment to good governance while also assuring the people of Idiato of participation in governance of the state.
To you, the coalition, God bless you and God bless my people. Great Stephen Moore. Let me say to all of you that we are highly favored. We are blessed. Our generation is blessed, and our children yet unborn are all blessed. We are the land of the rising sun. Therefore, let us rise and take our rightful place in the affairs of this nation. Idiato is indeed a great nation. Imo story cannot be complete without Idiato. Industrialization started from Idiato, and I'm proud to let all of you know that my new program of industry, factory, job, employment, Idiato nation will benefit from it.
Members of organizing committee spoke on the delights of being able to host the governor to a grand reception, but also challenged him to do more.
A lot of they have given us we have some infrastructures going on in our local government, and of course, the man assured us give us a hospital. I mean, he has done well. He has shown missionary leadership. He has shown transformational leadership. He has shown some kind of leadership that nobody has equaled across the history of the state, and of course, indeed Nigeria.
The people of Idiato, however, says they will continue to celebrate Okorocha, who they described as an icon. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
The son of ex-governor Theodore Orji Chinedum Orji, representing Umaya Central State constituency of the PDP, has emerged the majority leader of the Abia State House of Assembly. Speaker Martins Azubike discussed this on Monday when he led the lawmakers to the government house for a courtesy call on Governor Keze Ikpeazu. The speaker, while introducing his colleagues to the governor, identified Abraham Oba, representing Aba Central constituency of the APGA, as the minority leader. He introduced Tony Mezie Unwubani of the PDP, Uka West constituency, as the majority whip, while the minority whip, according to him, is Chibuso Okogwe, Bende South constituency. Cosmo Sundukwe of the PDP, representing Bende North, has been elected the deputy speaker during the inauguration of the House last Thursday. The House comprises 13 PDP members and 11 APGA members. This has ended months of speculation that the ex-governor's son was being positioned for the position of the Speaker, an allegation he had severally denied. The Speaker, who said they came to present the entire members of the 6th House to the Governor, affirmed their readiness to partner with the executive to move the state forward. Well, we're back after this break with details of the charge by the Chief Justice of the Federation to the judicial officers to shun corruption.
I'm going to have naked as a sign of protest, saying that things are not good.
Women share the most amazing thoughts.
When it's close to the time, our people will protest
on national issues.
That was their own point.
That was an accident. That is different.
And they do it.
Politics is about being a servant.
Passionately.
Without a woman, there will be no success at all.
Sharing the adorable word of women.
There are some women who have what it takes.
In politics.
Margaret Thatcher, Iron Lady. Where she's too soft, she's too soft.
Only on CoreTV News.
You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's CoreTV Primetime News. A quick reminder of a major story. United States expresses readiness to work with Nigeria to end Boko Haram's insurgency. Electoral officers under the Independent National Electoral Commission gather in Abuja for a review of the 2015 elections. Chief Justice of the Federation, Mahmoud Mohammed, advises judicial officers against bribe. For more news and other programs, let's visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/CoreTV News. Follow us on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, space, then news. The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, said on Monday that a transparent democratic process had the capacity to strengthen Nigeria's political system. Waba made this known in an interview in Geneva, Switzerland, while reacting to the June 9 election of Bukola Saraki as the Senate President and Ike Ekweremadu as the Deputy Senate President of the 8th National Assembly. He said NLC will always support a democratic process and oppose the imposition of political leaders. The NLC president congratulated all members of the two chambers of the National Assembly on the successful election of their new leadership and urged them to be focused, patriotic and committed to deepening democracy and development in Nigeria. He praised President Muhammadu Buhari for not interfering in the elections of the National Assembly leadership, saying, "We hope this will serve as a lesson to all politicians, among others, who always follow democracy to run its full course without any dictate or imposition of candidates or views on others." He also appealed to the lawmakers to reconsider all bills that are before them, with a view to moving the country to greater heights. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmoud Mohammed, has urged judicial officers to shun corruption and other unethical practices in order not to diminish public confidence in the judiciary. He also warned that the judiciary is more prepared than ever before to mete out sanction against any errant judge to toy with his or her oath of office. The CJN said this at the 2015 induction course for newly appointed judges and caddies organized by the National Judicial Institute in Abuja.
Every judicial officer must abide by the Code of Conduct for Judicial Officers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and judicial ethics as expounded in Bangalore Principles of Judicial Conduct. Any judicial officer who does not abide by the Code of Conduct is his way out of the judiciary in Nigeria. The Nigerian judiciary is now more prepared and more poised than ever before to rid itself of all ugly darts inflicted on it by unscrupulous persons occupying judicial offices in the past. The National Judicial Council and the respective state judicial service commissions are ethically empowered to remove with ignominy any judicial officer or judicial staff that have chosen the path of dishonor, to be lazy or refuse to abide by the judicial ethics and the judicial code of conduct.
A federal high court in Abuja on Monday refused a prayer by former governor of Adamawa State, Murtala Nyako, seeking an order restraining the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the police and the Department of State Service from arresting him. Nyako was reportedly quizzed by the FCC for over 8 hours after he surrendered himself to the commission on June 2, 2015. The former governor had, by an ex parte application, sought an interim injunction restraining the EFCC and other security agencies from detaining him in relation to a case of alleged financial malpractices. He had instituted the suit following his apprehension that he could be arrested over the said allegations by the Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase. The DSS or EFCC may arrest and prosecute him. But instead of granting his prayers, Justice Ahmed Mohammed asked his lawyer, Olukoya Ogungbeje, to put the other parties on notice by serving the court processes on them. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arraigned Obiachena Chikeluba, also known as Lisa T. Jackson, before a Lagos High Court, Ikeja, on a 17-count charge of obtaining money by false pretense, personation, forgery, and using false documents. 21-year-old Chikeluba was said to have met his victim on Facebook using the false identity of Lisa T. Jackson, a United States citizen. The FCC said that in one such instance in March 2013, he obtained about £54,000 from 1K Oaks through Western Union on the pretext that he was an American woman dealing in gold in Nigeria and needed money to increase her capital. When the charges were read to the defendant, he pleaded not guilty. In view of the plea of the accused, prosecution counsel Andrew Akoja asked for a trial date and prayed the court to remand the defendants in prison custody. Defense counsel Chijioke Ago informed the court that he has already filed an application for bail and asked to be allowed to move his application. However, Justice Ekwaye adjourned the matter to July 20, 2015 for hearing of bail application and ordered the defendants be remanded in custody. Chikebula, who is a student of Federal Science and Technical College, Yaba, Lagos, was arrested by EFCC operatives on February 24, 2015 for allegedly swindling Oak, a British citizen, of the equivalent of 20 million naira. Ogun East Senator in the National Assembly, Buruji Kashamu, has withdrawn a 20.1 billion libel suit he instituted against former President Olusegun Obasanjo before a federal capital territory court in Abuja. It was learned that the presiding judge, Justice Valentine Ashi, struck out the suit on May 26, 2015, following the notice of the continuance of the suit filed by the plaintiff. Kashamu, a People's Democratic Party chief in Ogun State, was said to have anchored his decision to withdraw the suit on an ongoing settlement talks between him and Obasanjo. But the lawyers who were representing the former president in the suit said they were not aware of such talks. A federal high court has dismissed the bail application brought by 6 former staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The accused persons, Patience Okoro, Afolabi Olufemi Johnson, Ilori Adekunle Sunday, Kolawole Babalola, Olani Nuramuniru Adiola, and Fatai Adedoku Yosef have been prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for illegally recycling mutilated currency in excess of 8 billion naira. In dismissing their application, Trial Judge Justice Nathaniel Emmanuel said it was because of the gravity of the offense, which borders on the economy and well-being of the people of the country. The judge also warned counsel that it would not entertain frivolous applications before adjourning until July 6 and 7. In a similar development, Justice Emmanuel also dismissed the bail application brought by 3 former CBN staff and 2 from Stolen Bank staff. They were arraigned on an 11-count charge bordering on conspiracy, fraud, and stealing after allegedly defrauding their banks of over 1 billion naira. Truck drivers in Kaduna on Monday blocked the Kaduna-Zaria highway after a soldier allegedly shot a driver for refusing to offer him a 500 naira bribe. The victim, identified as Abbas Saminu, was shot on his right leg close to Marabara just around 10 p.m. on Sunday. It was gathered that when the news spread in the state, his fellow drivers protested the shooting by blocking the highway with their vehicles for hours, making it difficult for motorists to get across. The driver is said to be responding to treatment in a local hospital. Efforts to speak with the Army's spokesman in Kaduna, Yusuf Abdul, failed as he didn't answer his phone. But Special Assistant Media and Publicity to the State Governor, Samuel Aruwen, confirmed the incident. He said Governor El Rufai has directed his deputy, Bala Bantex, and the Commissioner of Police to visit the scene to plead with the drivers' union to allow stranded vehicles access to road. It is no longer at ease in Ikere Ekiti, the local government headquarters of the Ikere local government area of Ekiti State, with a daily dose of protest over the election of a new occupant of the Ogoga of Ikere stool. Rashid has this report from Ikere Ekiti.
Within the space of 2 weeks, 4 protests have taken place in Ikere, no thanks to the Obership tussle which is fast tearing the town apart. As it stands now, Ikere has undergone a sharp divide with the kingmakers who say they have done the right selection process on one side and some section of the people in the town alongside the 3 ruling houses and the conglomeration of the princes and princesses on the other side. The message is still the same, though the tempo is fast changing to a violent one, with the protesters calling for another selection process, insisting that the Ogoga-elect is not from any of the royal families.
He supplied his application from Ogbeni. Ogbeni is a son of Agrilola. He claimed that Alagbado is also a son of Agrilola. Why then was application not submitted from Alagbado? Meaning that he does not even know what he belongs to.
The person selected is not from the royal family at all.
The Ifa Oreku, which is the proper channel to pick a candidate in Ikere, must be used.
With the seeming silence of the state government in the face of it all, despite the intervention of the deputy governor, Lushora Eleka, the protesters accuse the government of taking sides, saying this will escalate the matter, but the state government says all is in place to ensure that peace continues to reign in the ancient town.
To give Ikere peace, we don't want problem.
We want peace first in that community, and we want them to come together and choose a leader among themselves, which we will approve.
In the meantime, the protests will continue until the matter is resolved. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ikere Ekiti.
The Taraba Ministry of Urban Development on Monday said the ongoing demolition of illegal structures erected within the Jalingo metropolis was to restore the state's capital's original master plan. Abel Bako, the administrative officer of the ministry, told Nielsen in Jalingo that the exercise was aimed at erasing congestion in Jalingo. Bako said the Jalingo master plan, which had been disrupted by illegal structures, must be restored before infrastructure developments could occur in the metropolis. He denied claims in some quarters that the exercise was politically motivated, stressing that the measure was carried out in line with laid-down rules and regulations of the ministry. One of the demolished shop owners, Sheol Husman, said the ministry ruthlessly destroyed their shops without compensation. He, however, said the aggrieved persons had concluded arrangements to challenge the demolition in court because we legally acquired the demolished building. Office of the National Security Advisor has alerted the nation over a possible threat of the Middle East respiratory syndrome, which has killed about 15 persons in the last few days in South Korea. Hundreds of people are also under quarantine in that country. The office has, as a result, asked the Federal Ministry of Health to activate the response plan and procedure to deal with an eventual outbreak. In a letter to the permanent secretary at the ministry over the weekend, signed by T.T. Wire for the National Security Advisor, the office noted, when Nigerians traveling all over the world for business and pleasure, the disease could likely be carried into Nigeria, as it is transmitted through contact with affected persons. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has called on Nigerians and corporate bodies to join hands in the fight against cancer. Ambode stated this at an event tagged the Banquet of Stars Against Cancer. Speaking through his deputy, Oluranti Adebole, Ambode says the fight against cancer will be more successful through early detection, which could be possible through regular medical checkup.
The war against cancer is for everyone to fight, as hardly can one find someone who is not related directly or indirectly with at least one cancer victim. Lots of lives are lost globally every day to this scourge.
Also speaking, former Nigerian High Commissioner to United Kingdom, Christopher Kolade, and Pat Utomi said access to qualitative public health is necessary in early diagnosis of the deadly disease.
Cancer, you know, there are different kinds of cancer. Then we know that we have to mobilize our best intelligence, our best efforts, and our best resources to fight this war.
So that as these clinics move around, people will get a chance to find out their status. Because as the doctors will remind us again and again when they speak to us, the key is in early detection.
You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. We'll be back after this time out with business, sports, and stories from outside Nigeria. Please stay with us.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that will be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it's just about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power.
In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
And outside Nigeria, a top Islamic militant who ordered a deadly attack on an Algerian gas plant 2 years ago has been killed in a U.S. airstrike in Libya, officials say. Mokhtar Belmokhtar was killed in the eastern city of Adibia. A statement from Libya's government said. The U.S. says Belmokhtar was targeted and the strike was successful, but it is accessing the operation's results and will give details as appropriate. Mokhtar many times in the past. Born in Algeria, Belmokhtar was a former senior figure in Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, but left to form his own militia. He gained notable with the attack on the In Amenas gas plants in Algeria in 2013, when about 800 people were taken hostage and 40 killed, most of them foreigners, including 6 Britons and 3 Americans. The U.S. has filed terror charges against him, and officials said they believed he remained a threat to Western interests. A South African court will decide whether Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir should be arrested for war crimes and genocide. The Pretoria High Court will rule on whether he should be handed over to the International Criminal Court, which charged him for the crimes. President Bashir is in Johannesburg for an African Union summit. He is accused of committing war crimes, crimes against humanity, and therefore conflict. South Africa's ruling African National Congress on Monday said the International Criminal Court was no longer useful to the purposes for which it was intended. The ANC spoke after the controversy generated by Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir, wanted by the ICC for alleged war crimes in the Darfur conflict, arrival and later departure from South Africa to attend an AU summit. Bashir looked unlikely to be arrested as the ANC-led Pretoria government had granted immunity to all attending the summit. With many African states accusing the ICC of selective justice, the ANC also called for a review of ICC status to make them apply to all UN members. Another patient has died in South Korea amid an outbreak of the Middle East respiratory syndrome, bringing total fatalities to 16. Officials also reported 5 new cases in South Korea, which has the largest outbreak outside the Middle East. Officials say 150 people have now contracted the virus in South Korea. Meanwhile, a South Korean man in Slovakia tested negative for the virus, but will remain in quarantine for further testing. The 38-year-old man started showing symptoms such as diarrhea, fever, and skin lesions after arriving in the Slovak capital of Bratislava on June 3rd. 4 blood tests have been conducted with 3 showing negative results, but the 4th test produced no clear results, and so health officials say further tests will have to be conducted. The man reportedly works for a subcontractor of South Korean car maker Kia. A hospital in the South Korean capital, Seoul, has suspended most of its services after being identified as the source of almost half the cases. The president of the Samsung Medical Center issued a public apology on Sunday. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has licensed 4 new companies as part of efforts to add more megawatts of energy to the national grid. Representing the certificate in Abuja, NERC Chairman Sam Amadi said proper due diligence has been done on them before their consideration. The companies are expected to add 774 megawatts of on-grid electricity if they deliver on their contracts.
We, even after licensing, giving the license, we try to, the rules and the process will continue until you get to construction and completion and commissioning are all de-risked. So we do our best, whether through tariffs or through other regulatory interventions, to ensure that there is always stability of regulation. I also want to say that not just about the framework and the pricing that we try to put out in the market, but the procedures we follow are deliberative, consultative, and open. And what is important to everybody who comes to this market is the fact that you are not going to be ambushed. You won't be just run off town, off business, and there's no political intervention or dictation in this market. The market is as it is, based on the rules. If the rules are changing, they change in light of clear realities and through a process that you would know why the regulator is taking those decisions.
I believe this will greatly complement the change agenda of His Excellency Mr. President and the incoming administration to achieve 20,000 megawatts in the next 4 years. We in Proton Energy, our license today, for which we thank the Commissioner, the Commission is for 150 megawatts, but this is the first phase. We are hoping to grow this to 500 megawatts in the next phase. We hope to achieve financial close by God's grace by the end of this year. Construction will start by the first quarter of 2016, and we expect to see megawatts on the grid by the end of 2017.
Nigeria and Singapore have concluded plans to sign agreements to strengthen their bilateral air services and curb double taxation and investment in both countries. The Nigerian ambassador to Singapore, Noye Okpara, disclosed the plan in Abuja says the agreement would be sealed on August 4 in Singapore, saying it would ensure that passenger air carriers from Nigeria and Singapore without the authority to operate any number of air services between and beyond both countries. According to her, the double taxation component of the agreement would clarify the taxing rights on different incomes and investments arising from cross-border economic activities involving the two nations. She said the agreement would also encourage reduction or exemption of tax on certain types of income. The dream of Lagos State becoming one of the oil-producing states is moving closer to reality, as the operator projected that the well in oil mining lease 113 would be churning out the first oil by December. A joint venture partner, Panoro Energy Asset, in its operations update recently says the operator of the OML 113 license has on behalf of the joint venture partners entered into a rig contract with Saipem for the Scarborough 3 drilling rig to carry out the drilling and completion program for the AJE field Seminonian oil development. The statement, however, said that well operations are expected to commence in early third quarter of 2015 and are likely to take approximately 90 days to complete. Once well operations have been completed, subsea equipment will be installed and the wells will be tied back to the front puffin, currently undergoing refurbishments in Singapore. AJE is an offshore field location in the western part of Nigeria in the Dahomey Basin as the border with Benin, with first oil targeted for December 2015. The field is situated in water depth ranging from 100 to 1,000 meters, about 24 kilometers from the coast. Heavy transactions in the shares of some banks and insurance companies last week enhanced the volume of shares traded as a turnover of 1.552 billion shares worth 17.532 billion naira was recorded in 17,785 deals by investors on the floor of the exchange, higher than a total of 1.221 billion shares valued at 16.964 billion that changed hands in 19,847 deals during the preceding week. Specifically, the financial services industry measured by volume, like the activity charts, were 929,003.1 billion shares valued at 6.909 billion naira, traded 9,877 deals, thus contributing 59.88% and 39.41% to the total equity turnover volume and value respectively. The natural resources industry followed with a turnover of 1.851 million shares worth 64.986 million naira in 43 deals. The consumer goods industry occupied the third place with 124,814 million shares worth 6.858 billion in 2,991 deals. Trading in the top three equities, namely United Bank for Africa PLC, Cornerstone Insurance Company PLC, and Multiverse PLC, measured by volume, accounted for 586,164 million shares worth 1.950 billion in 719 deals, contributing 37.77% and 11.12% to the total equity turnover volume and value respectively. Also traded during the week were a total of 19.675 units of exchange-traded product valued at 1.296 million naira executed in 21 deals, compared with a total of 8,966 units valued at 5.556 million naira transacted during the preceding week in 32 deals. A total of 3,450 units of federal government bonds valued at 4,053 million were traded this week in 3 deals, compared with a total of 14,817 units of federal government bonds valued at 17.586 million naira traded in 5 deals in the previous week. The NSE All-Share Index and market capitalization depreciated by 0.13% to close on Friday at 33,621.75 and 11.477 trillion, respectively. And in the world of sports, Super Eagles coach Stephen Keshi is optimistic the national team will get even better after Saturday's 2-0 win over Chad in the 2017 African Cup of Nations qualifier in Kaduna. The Eagles struggled in the first half of the encounter as the Chadians created the better chances, but they bounced back after the break to seal a hard-fought victory over the visitors at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium, Kaduna. Keshi handed over debut to centre-back William Truth Ekong, Astorio midfielder Anderson Esiti, and left-back Kingsley Madu in the encounter, and the coach admitted he was apprehensive in the first half. The 2013 AFCON winning coach said the inclusion of new players would help instill balance in the squad. Kwara United Football Club of Ilorin on Sunday defeated visiting Rangers International FC of Enugu 3-1 to claim the 4 points in the 2014-2015 Globe Premier League. The Week 11 encounter was played at the main bowl of the Kwara Stadium complex. The home side opened scoring just 2 minutes into the match through Dario Joe, with the lead up only lasting about 14 minutes. An error by the duo of goalkeeper Shagari Ismail and Alili Obadaki resulted in the Rangers equalizing through Razak Adegbite, who slaughtered in the low cross in the 16th minute. Former Bavista midfielder Olufemi Oladapo restored Kwara United's lead just before half-time. Off a pass from Shagun Alebioshu, Kwara United responded well to coach Tunde Abdurrahman's half-time talk as they dominated proceedings thereafter. Rangers' back line, led by Oke Odite, stood firm. However, United's new signing, Emmanuel Amungwa, sealed victory for Kwara United in the 81st minute with the side's third goal. Nigeria's Ugo Njoko has been banned for 3 games for elbowing Australian midfielder Sam Kerr in the face during a clash at the Women's World Cup, FIFA confirmed on Sunday. The Nigerian defender was also fined 3,000 Swiss francs by World Football's governing body after video replay showed the 20-year-old making contact with Kerr's face during the Group D clash in Winnipeg on Saturday. Njoko's action floored Clare 21 in the second half of Australia's 2-0 win over the Super Eagles, which kept Matilda's World Cup campaign on track after the opening loss to the United States. Kerr has since recovered and is expected to play in Australia's final clash against Sweden in Edmonton on Tuesday. The player was sanctioned after disciplinary proceedings were opened for serious infringement, which have escaped the match officials' attention, FIFA said. The first match of the suspension will be Nigeria's final group game against the U.S. in Vancouver on Tuesday. New Rangers boss Mark Warburton has warned fans not to expect short-term fixes after becoming the first Englishman to take charge of the Scottish club. The 52-year-old former Brentford boss and assistant David Ware, the former Rangers captain, have signed 3-year contracts at Ibrox. However, his side lost out in the Scottish Premiership playoff final against Motherwell to remain in the Championship for a second season. Nico Hülkenberg became the first active Formula One driver to win Le Mans for 24 years as he partnered English Nick Tandy to victory in a Porsche, along with New Zealand's El Bamba in Tenenbaum 19 car. They earned the record 17th win in the race for Porsche. Max Weber was a lap behind and second in another Porsche, but Audi third. Tandy 30 took the lead on lap 253 on Sunday for the number 19 Porsche team before Hülkenberg guided them to victory. With 395 laps covered, the number 17 Porsche, featuring XFI driver Weber, was a lap behind and second with Audi's number 7 R18 e-tron Quattro, a former lap adrift. Porsche's victory ended a run of 13 wins in the previous 15 editions by Audi, and it was the first success for Porsche, who returned to Le Mans last year after a 16-year absence from the top category since 1998. And that's a wrap on CoreTV Primetime News tonight, but before we go, a quick reminder of our major story. United States expresses readiness to work with Nigeria to end Boko Haram's insurgency. Electoral officers under the Independent National Electoral Commission gather in Abuja for a review of the 2015 elections. Chief Justice of the Federation, Mahmoud Mohammed, advises judicial officers against bribe. Thanks so much for staying with us. I am Olajimo Kela today. Have a wonderful night.